Hello, I wanted to show you now how to unpack your new Thermomix in the event that we haven't been able to get together in person or over Zoom. So hopefully this video is very helpful for you. I am going to go through the attachments first and then the buttons. I'm going to go over Cookidoo. And at the very end, I am going to show the cutter and the blade cover peeler, how they work, because it is a little bit specific. And but at the end, because they're optional extras that you may or may not have. So yes. So to turn on the Thermomix, you push this button right here. The very first time you turn it on, it is going to do a 10-minute sort of setup process. So you'll see on the screen a circle that goes round and round, well, until it's ready. Then the first thing it will ask you for is your Wi-Fi password. So have that ready and your Cookidoo account. So to make a Cookidoo account, go to cookidoo.com.au. That's COOKIDOO.com.au. Press try it for free to create a new account. And then you will get an email sent that you need to click the link on. That's going to confirm your account. So then when you use that same login on your Thermomix, that's how you link your machine to your Cookidoo account. You can also download the app if you want, but you can just use the website if that's easier. I am going to go through Cookidoo a bit later and how that works and a few tips on how to make that the most of that, especially changing your filter preferences. Then it's going to go through the safety instructions, which I'll just go through quickly with you now. Yours will come up automatically, but I need to come and find it in here. So the safety instructions are to make sure you only use the given attachments, especially not to block the hole in your lid with anything else that's not one of the given attachments. Then it is to make sure if you're cooking above 95 degrees, you put the simmer basket on top. So I'm going to go through all the pieces in a second, but that's that one. So instead of having your measure cup on top, you would sit that on top. That's because they want extra steam to escape while you're cooking. And that's all that's about. Then we talk about use your measure cup if you're blending to a high speed because the measure cup blocks it more. So that's putting that one back on top. Then if it were to overboil, which is a very rare instance and would really only be if you're overfilling, but if it were to overboil, press the stop button, which is just this button over here, the selector dial. If you're going to be using the high heat mode, it will ask you to put your splash guard on top and you can see the picture comes up. So that is this one. So it's just a matter of sitting it on top of your lid. So it looks like you've got two lids happening. I don't know if you can see like that. And yeah, it will lock in place when the arms open, the arms close. Don't put it too close to your stove. And don't overfill. So you've got a max line up the top of your simmer basket, and you've got a max line within your bowl as well. Now, how to pull your bowl apart. This is probably the fiddliest part of having a Thermomix. So let me try and show you as best I can. So, and you don't need to pull it apart too often. Just like because there's other ways to clean the bowl without pulling it apart. But if you want to pull the bowl apart, you can see underneath. I'm right-handed, so I hold the bowl handle with my left hand because I'm going to use my right hand strength to open it. But I put my fingers in this sort of section here. And then on the other side, you've got these ridges which work well on the palm of your hands to move the base clockwise so that the tab is where the triangle is. So to start off with, the tab is in line with the handle. I want to move that tab to be where the triangle is. Yours will be stiffer than mine at first, but after washing it and maybe doing it a few times, it will loosen up. So then that just pulls down and you can pull those blades out, holding on to the top round bit where you're not touching the blade section itself. And then it goes back in like a puzzle. Put the tab back to where that triangle is, and then it will slide in place. You want to feel a little bit of resistance with that. And then just check it is secure because another way it can happen is that you might just put it straight there and it's not locked in place. So you want to really make sure you get it where the triangle is first before sliding it over. So that's your bowl and how you put that together. Now, this safety instruction is saying make sure that is put together before you use your Thermomix, obviously, but also just even when you're not using it, because someone else may not know that you've got the blades in the dishwasher and it might be sitting here looking pretty good. And someone else comes along without realizing, pours milk in to make a smoothie, and it's going to go through that hole right into the workings of your Thermomix. So that's what we want to avoid. Now, if that were to happen, not to you, because you're not going to do that, but say it happens to someone else, the advice is that they leave the Thermomix upright, just the way it is, turn it off at the switch and let it dry for up to 2 days before trying to use it again. Obviously, because with the moisture inside where the unit is, that's not great for electronics. So, and don't try and tip it upside down or sideways, because then you're just spreading the moisture into more areas. So just leave it. There is drainage. It's not going to happen to you though, because you're going to make sure it's always locked in place before you start adding ingredients. And then we talk about when the lights are red, it's hot, so don't touch the metal part of your bowl, and read your manual. So that's your safety instructions. And then on your screen, it's going to bring up maybe it's going to bring up a message saying, do you want what you're cooking to be tracked? Doesn't matter whether you say yes or no to that. There may be a software update to do. I recommend doing the software update if you've got time. I always recommend that, especially at the beginning. And then it's going to bring up a banner up the top of your Thermomix screen that says something about activating a 3-month Cookidoo trial. So press that banner, a QR code is going to come up on your screen. So open the camera on your app, the camera app on your phone, and just hover it over the QR code so that you can activate your 3-month trial with Cookidoo. And really use Cookidoo as much as you can in the first 3 months so you can decide whether you want to keep subscribing or not in the future, because you'll get to know the benefits of it, and I'm going to go through those a bit later. So then your Thermomix is just on and ready to use, and every other time you turn it on, it will just come to this page, which is your home screen. I want to go through the pieces with you. So we've shown you the bowl. Then we have our lid, which looks like that. It's got a seal in there and a tab. It doesn't matter where that tab goes. It can be wherever. Then we have our measure cup. So this is what you would be putting in for a lot of cooking that's not being heated up too hot, but like a lot of blending or whatever. And that stays in place until you click it out. Just under the spout bit is where you can click that out. Then we have our simmer basket. So this usually sits inside if you're wanting to use it as a simmer basket. You can be steaming something in there. When you're done cooking with that, there is a hook on your spatula to get that out and set that aside. Now, if you're wanting to be tipping the ingredients of this bowl straight away into something else, open that lid first. Try and be gentle not to touch it because it is very hot. So open that lid sort of with the spatula going through the hole, and then hook it, because now when you try and tip those ingredients somewhere, the lid is not in your way. So 2 ways to get your simmer basket out. Now I want to show you, I've already showed you the splash guard, but I'll show you again. That's the splash guard, just sits on top. The only time you need to use that is when the machine is telling you, now put the splash guard on. A message will come up saying, have you put the splash guard on? You say, yes, I've done it. That's the splash guard. Now we have our butterfly attachment. So this one is for whisking egg whites or cream or buttercream, icing, those types of things. It sits on the top of your blades. And a lot of us find it stays in place better if you put it to the left side of the highest blade. And you'll know what I mean when you look at your blades, because they're all at different heights. So to the left of the highest, and then give it a little anti-clockwise twist to let it stay in place a lot better. When you're done with that, you're just going to jiggle it out. The rule with the butterfly is to not go past speed 4, and it's written on it very faintly. It says max 4. You might have to look at your own to see that. Then we have our varoma. So with the varoma, this is our steamer. So it sits on top, and you have an extra layer if you want to be cooking multiple layers. And then your lid, which will be all black because mine's old. They're better now. When you're done cooking with your varoma, just be aware that it's very much at your face level. So open it that way away from you. So the steam is heading away from me. Just for a second, flick your lid upside down, put your varoma on top, and it's a drip tray so that you're not dripping all over your bench. So the only other tip with the varoma is after you've put your ingredients in, if you've overflowed it so much, use your spatula to try and create a little bit of a hole in the middle of your ingredients so that the steam can really get around a lot better. I have a lot of tips about the varoma, but this is a basic delivery lesson. So let me know when you're ready for more info about anything. Okay, so that's all the pieces that come with your Thermomix. I want to show you the home screen. We have 3 options here, which is your timer, temperature, and speed. So whatever you touch, then you turn this dial to turn it. So I'm choosing, maybe I want to mix for 30 seconds. Then I would just choose a speed by touching the speed circle and turning it. So I'm choosing a number. When I'm done with that, hopefully you can hear me. When I'm done with that, you don't have to turn it all the way down. You can just push it and then it will stop. Now, if you're wanting to use heat, you have to set a time first. So whatever you choose, we've got all these temperature options, and the last one is called varoma, which is a steaming temperature. Whatever you choose, and then choose a speed. But I'll stop it for now. And to reset is just hold down in the middle of the circle, and it sets it all back to 0. Now the other option in here is your speed, is your blade reverse. So that means the blades will be turning anti-clockwise on the blunt side of the blade. And so that's really good for a lot of cooking. And then turn it back the other way to go forward on the sharp side of the blades, which is just the normal default action of that. So if you just want to come and just start chopping or blending something, you don't need these 2 circles. You can just turn it on and come straight here and get going. When you're ready, press stop. But if you want to be specific, you can come here and set a timer first that it will count down. And as I said, if you're cooking, you have to set a timer first. So that's your home screen. And then most people are going to go this way in the beginning, especially because this is in Cookidoo where we can just follow the instructions. So you can scroll down to see what's new on Cookidoo. You can see also just some recipes that head office are sort of saying might be relevant at the moment. And then we come into what's trending. So these are what people have been cooking this week. And then our new collections. So, and there's some videos you can watch along the way as well. But usually you're just going to come in here and start typing. So you could type the name of an ingredient that you are ready to cook. So let's just say I want to make pizza dough. So I am typing in pizza dough. And then we come into the pizza dough recipe. You can press start cooking if you're ready, or scroll down to see the info about it. You've got the info at the top, ingredients, steps, nutrition guide. Some recipes have tips. And then just pointing one thing out, if there's a square around the serving size, like there is in this one, that means you can come and adjust the recipe to be either smaller or bigger, depending on the recipe. That's sort of a newer feature, which they're still getting around to adding to a lot of the recipes. But there are still a lot that do it. But yeah, lots of pizza dough recipes. If you don't know what you want to cook, you can come in here and just type the name of an ingredient. So say you want to cook something with pumpkin because you've bought a whole big pumpkin and you want to use it. So then you can see, how many have I got? I've got 329 pumpkin recipes. Yeah, so, and then just like find one you want to make and go into it. So say we want to make pumpkin soup. I'm going to just talk you through following guided cooking recipe. So press start, and then you're going to add in your onion, and then press next. So for every step, you do what it says and press next. Now it's telling me to put the lid on and the measure cup. So I would come in here, put the lid on and the measure cup, then press next. Now this time it's an action step. So 3 seconds is set, and it wants me to turn the selector to speed 5. And very faintly, hopefully you can see on my screen, there is a very faint green line coming up to where my number 5 would be. When I start turning the dial, I want to match my dark green with the light green. And it's done, and I press next. So you just do what it says, press next. The scales come up whenever you need them to come up to add more ingredients. So you would just add your butter. Now, when you're using your scales, don't be touching the Thermomix. See what happens when I put my hand on here. So just clear it, make sure there's nothing, getting in the way. And then the other thing to know is if you've pressed next while the lid is still on, and then you realize, oh, I need to take the lid off to put my ingredients in. Now we're in minus because the lid weighed something. So press tear, always just make sure it says 0 before you start adding your ingredients. Then I would press next. Now this time it's asking me to put the simmer basket on. So I would take out that measure cup and put the simmer basket on because this action must be a cooking one. So it's set for 3 minutes, 120 degrees on speed 1 to saute that onion in the butter. So I'll turn that to speed 1. Now to multitask and look ahead, you can either press preview to see what's next, or you can press these 3 little magical dots up the top right, which is what I usually do, to come to the recipe details so you can really look ahead properly. So while that onion is sauteing, you go and get out all these ingredients and have them ready so that when the onion's finished, you've got your other ingredients ready, and then basically you're almost done. You can almost leave the kitchen. But for now, I will press continue and I'll stop that. See, now my lights have gone red because I went above 60 degrees. So that means, like, be aware that the metal bowl is hot. So I press next. It's telling me to add pumpkin, carrot, and then it wants me to put the measure cup back on. Press next. Now it wants me to chop, which I won't do because I haven't even put anything in, but you would, again, just turn the dial. Everything is just doing what it says. Scrape it down, add water. So again, the scales have come up so you can add your water. Then it wants us to add stock paste, which the recipe to make stock paste is in the Thermomix as well. Put your simmer basket on, and now we're cooking 20 minutes. You can leave the kitchen for 20 minutes, leave the house if you want to. Then come back. All we're going to do in the end is add some cream and maybe some basil if you want to. Put your measure cup back on because now we're blending. It blends for 1 minute. Oh, there we go. There's your salt and pepper, and then it's done. So I wanted to walk you through how to do a guided cooking recipe because this is the absolute most easiest way of how to use the Thermomix. So that's that way when you're in Cookidoo. Got your home screen, which we already went through. And then the next one, the next screen over here is where all your modes are. So these modes are here for when you're not following a recipe on guided cooking. This is like you've come here and you want to do your own thing. So you can turn your scales on at any time and just be weighing whatever you want to weigh. When you're finished with the scales, press the cross. The Thermomix sensor is an extra attachment that you can get that goes with the Thermomix, which is a temperature probe to detect when your roast is cooked, or steak, or your bread, or cakes, anything. It's awesome. If you want to check that out, you can have a look at that on the website or just ask me. Then we have our chop mode. So this one is basically, it's not a recipe, but it's an action you want to do in your Thermomix and you aren't sure which setting to use. So you come here and you can find it in here. So say you want to grate some chocolate or mince some meat, mill some seeds or mill some rice, whatever it is. And so you'll just choose, let's just choose something. Say you want to make almond meal. You either want it coarsely chopped or finely ground. And then you press set and it's just telling you how long to go for and at what speed. So it's basically just a guide on how to use some of the functions of the Thermomix. Then we have dough mode. So with this one, you would just touch the symbol and then turn the dial to activate. Also, a lot of these modes have a little I button up the top. So you press that for information about that mode. Some of them have maximum limitations, like this one says 1.3 kilogram, as an example. Then we have our turbo button. So this one is just a really quick pulse. So like the quickest burst the Thermomix does, and you can choose to do it for a second, half a second, or 2 seconds. And it's basically when you want a rough texture. So that's why you would use the turbo button. And it would just be a matter of touching the symbol and again turning that dial. And if you want to turbo it maybe 3 or 4 times in a row to kind of get it rougher, just do it a few times. And then when you're finished with turbo, press your home button to release the arms. Maybe I should show you that what I mean by releasing the arms. When I come into turbo, it's captured my arms so that it's ready to go. So pressing home releases them. Okay. Then I love this one, pre-clean mode. Add some water to cover the blades, and then you can choose what kind of recipe you were cooking to do a clean mode. You can also add a drop of dishwash liquid or a splash of vinegar if you want it to do a more complete wash. I normally, after doing this, also wash it again in my sink just with my dishwash wand. So that's just what I do. But yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of people just put the water and the dishwash liquid in their bowl. Choose short if you're in a hurry, dough if you were making bread, universal for most sort of dinners, fat or caramel if it was something, kind of oily or fatty, as it says. Browning is for when there's brown marks on the bottom of your bowl. So you'll see those and know to come and do this pre-clean. And after doing this wash, it's very easy to clean in the sink. So, and just so you know, all the pieces and parts except for the actual machine itself are dishwasher safe. Where I'm at to blend mode is exactly as it says. You are just going to press the symbol and choose a blending speed, basically, and it will blend for you. Egg boiler mode is where you, sorry, I want to not show this again. You put your eggs right in the bottom of your bowl where the blades are, like right at the bottom. It's going to seem a little bit weird at first because there's blades there, but just place the eggs down there. The blades will not move. They will stay still in egg boiler mode. So you can trust that your eggs will be safe down there. Add water up to the 1 liter mark in your bowl. Oh, I should show you that too. So inside your bowl, hopefully you can, I don't think you can. On this side, where my finger is, there's the 2 liter mark. Down below further is the 1 liter mark. Have a look on your own bowl and you will definitely see those lines. So for egg boiler, you put your eggs in first, then fill your water up to the 1 liter mark, and then choose how you want your eggs cooked, and that will do it perfectly. Kettle mode is choosing a target temperature for your liquid, whether it's milk or water. Maybe you want it to be 80 degrees to cook tea, water to make tea, or whatever the situation. So choose your target temp, choose the symbol, and then turn that dial to activate. Warm up mode is for reheating maybe sauces or soups or maybe some dinners. There is a guide up here that tells you what temperature you might want to use. and then you just press the symbol and turn to activate. So warm up is really good if you're wanting to not like avoid a microwave or avoid turning on the stove, but also it makes sure, because it stirs at the same time, it makes sure there's no hot or cold spots, so it's quite food safe. Then we have thicken mode, which is for sauces. So if you don't know what you're doing, mainly you're going to go to Cookidoo and follow the sauce recipe rather than coming straight to thicken. But if you have a recipe in your head, or you're making something up, or you have a family favorite bechamel sauce, put in your bechamel ingredients, come here and turn this on. And it's just going to thicken for you. So thicken mode detects the viscosity of the ingredients and just does it. So you're not setting a time, it will tell you when it's ready. Then we have rice cooker mode. This is the absorption method of cooking rice. So there is the blades won't move. And then you add your rice and your water, follow the instructions on the back of your packet of rice so that you know the ratio of rice to water, or you can press this magnifying glass and type in the type of rice. Sorry, it's slow when I'm on Zoom, which is what I'm using to record the video. But you can type in the word of the type of rice that you have bought, and oh, it hasn't come up first. There it is, basmati rice. And this recipe will give you the ratios. And if you go down further, oh, you can also just do it from within here. You don't need to go to rice cooker mode. So yeah, that's rice cooker mode. So using the absorption method. Fermentation is really good for making yogurt and proving dough, things like that. Again, I would probably follow a yogurt recipe, but if you know what you're doing, you can come here and activate ferment mode. Slow cook, also a lot of recipes in there in Cookidoo for slow cook, but if you know what you're doing, come here and set it to go. And again, the info button is helpful, probably the first few times. But yeah, once you turn this on and choose your time first, but once you turn it on, it will stir for a while and then stop, and then it will give it a stir sort of every 15 minutes just to make sure nothing's sticking to the bottom of your Thermomix. Now I am going to show you an optional extra attachment that you can get for the Thermomix, which is called the blade cover peeler. You may have this and you may not. It isn't super necessary, but it is something that is very handy for slow cooking. Basically, it sits on top of the blades like that. And then when you're done, you can pull it off, but it's waved to go over the blades. You'll know if it's in or not because you'll just tell, you'll know. It'll feel right and hear that click. So that's just really good if you're wanting to slow cook something that you don't want to touch the blades, like say a certain cut of meat that you don't want to be in contact with the blades. So that's something you can get to use with slow cook mode. And then the other mode that is next is our sous vide mode. Now this one is really specific temperatures, and you can fill your bowl with water to do your sous vide cooking to make sure it's going to be the perfect temperature and results. So again, with that one, the blade cover peeler is handy because this will cover the blades so that your bags can sit on top of the blade cover peeler. If you don't have this, you can also use your simmer basket because this can sit inside, have your bags in there, and then fill the water to be covering your bags. It's obviously just a smaller quantity in your basket than what would be in your bowl with the blade cover peeler. But I've still done this quite a few times and been happy with that. And then the next one is called peeler. So peeler is, you definitely need this, otherwise you're not going to be able to peel. These are not sharp, but they're raised nodules that I'm trying to point out as I move. So basically, if you have this sitting in your Thermomix bowl, add some water, and the guide tells you 600 grams of water. And then you're going to add up to 800 grams of potatoes or beetroot or garlic or whatever that you want peeled. Then as this is spinning, it spins fairly fast. The veggies are rolling around in there and just rubbing on this. So it's acting as a abrasive to just rub the skin or the peel off. And that's how this works as a peeler. Optional extra with mixed reviews of people who care about having a peeler on the Thermomix or not. Then the next one we have here, let me show you, I need to come close again. We've got two here called grating and slicing. Now, these are for use with an optional extra attachment called the cutter, which I will show here. I'm going to show you how to use this at the end because if you don't have a cutter or care about it, we will skip that for you. But if you're interested, I'll show you that at the end. So they're all your modes, and maybe there'll be more depending on when you're watching this, because every time we get software updates, something exciting could come. Sometimes it's nothing, sometimes it's a new mode. We never really know what's going to be coming. But I do also want to show you our menu. So in our menu, we come here and we've got our recipe tab. So if you've organized recipes in your Cookidoo app, which I'm going to show you soon, they will be here. So I've got some bookmarks of things that I love or things I'm wanting to try. I've got some created recipes. Now this is a feature of Cookidoo where you can add in your own family favorite recipes to cook as guided cooking on the Thermomix. So I've either entered these myself or imported them from another recipe website we have called recipecommunity.com.au. Then we have created collections. So these are folders that I've created to organize recipes, and saved collections. So these are head office collections that they've put together that I've saved on my machine. Then we have week. So if you've organized to cook something this week in your meal planner, you'll see them come up here. My recently cooked. So you can see what I've been cooking. I recently did a restore, so there's not much on there. Then we have our settings. So these aren't too interesting. The only one I really want, well, there's two I want to point out. In your sounds, you can change, there's a noise that sounds like this. No, it doesn't. Yours is going to sound like this. I have changed mine to sound like that. But that keeps going as default until you come and turn off your Thermomix or touch it. So yours will have that set to be unlimited. I have turned mine down to say 10 seconds because I hear it and I'm happy with that. But if you're likely to forget that the machine was cooking or not hear it at first, maybe you want to be somewhere in the middle or leave it as unlimited. That is up to you. And yes, you can change the melody of it as I just showed you. The other one I want to show you is sometimes you turn on your Thermomix and it asks you to do an update, but you're in a really big hurry to cook. So you say, no, I don't want to do the update. But then later when you finish cooking, come here and find it and search for your update here. And that's when you can do your software update. They usually take about 10 or 15 minutes. Now, the other thing in your menu are your help and safety instructions. So those safety instructions we went through earlier are here if you want to show anyone else in your family how that works. And your instruction manual is there as well. So up here, the other thing to show you up here in the middle of your Thermomix screen is this arrow. That's a timer that you can set for use. Like if you've got something in the oven or some other reason why you want a timer set, you can come and do that with that as well. So that's everything on your Thermomix screen. I really want to show you Cookidoo. It's a really fabulous website. It's going to take me a second to pull it up. Okay, and share my screen. So yes, share. So Cookidoo, this is the website that I'm looking at on my laptop. So it should look the same as the Cookidoo on your Thermomix screen, or if you've downloaded the app. So yeah, basically it should be a match. But say you've come here and you say, oh, pretzels look good. I am going to cook those. So press these three dots and here's where you can organize this recipe. So you could bookmark it add it to a collection, which is like a folder, add to your weekly planner. Now, when you press this one, you're going to choose a day. So I'll choose Saturday, and you can also add it to your shopping list. If you aren't sure that you want to cook the pretzels or not, you can click into the recipe and look through the ingredients, look through the prep. Maybe you want to look at the nutrition guide. Yeah, or scroll down to see alternative recipes. Or you can just type something in. So say you want to use, oh, here you go. A recent search was Varoma. Say you want to use your Varoma attachment. You can come here and type in the word Varoma and see what recipes come up that use that. Or Halloween's coming up. You might want to type in the word Halloween and see what recipes there are. Or say it's Christmas, whatever. You know, you can just type in words. You could type in, if you've got an intolerance in your house, type in the word gluten-free and see what gluten-free recipes there are going to be. So just use the search bar. Basically, as a guide, just so you're aware of where those search words come from, the Australian Cookidoo people have tags on their recipes. So, and then you can come down and type and use those tags. So this one is a poor example. Oh, that's right, because it's not, I was going to say, that's not an Aussie one. But let's just try this one. So this one's got some tags here too. So you can press vegetarian. So that was a vegetarian recipe, and you wanted to see other vegetarian recipes. So you press the tag. Or you might come into here and see, oh, this looks like a good recipe for children. What else is good for children? And so you can use the tags that way. So that's searching and organizing your recipes. Then if you come to the My Recipes tab, you can see what you've bookmarked, see what's happening. And also here is where you enter your created recipes. So, and there's tutorials on how to do that here. I do also have a dedicated Cookidoo tutorial that goes for about half an hour in my YouTube channel. But basically showing, yeah, how this all works. And then my week would be here. And these are the recipes that I've put in my weekly planner. And then what I've put in my shopping list. So I can show ingredients. If I've already got something at home, just tick it off. Or if you've got your app open and you're walking down the aisles of the shops, use your finger to tick it off as you put the item in your trolley. And if you don't want to be the one doing the shop, come to options. You can share this with someone else or order these ingredients. Now, this is going to take you to the Woolworths website. Now, just, yeah, I was about to say, just a word of caution, it's occasionally there's a glitch. Hopefully by the time you watch this video, it's fixed, because they are definitely on top of this and trying to get it fixed. Normally, all your items are there. And if you don't like the brand they've chosen, press the swap button to choose the brand you do want. And then, yeah, when you're done, add to your Woolies cart. And that's your shopping list. So that's Cookidoo. But the other thing if you're new to Cookidoo, that will be important if you want to see a whole lot more recipes, is to come up the top into your preferences. So you won't have a picture there. It will just have a chef's hat icon. Press that, go to your profile, and make sure that any accessory you don't have is unticked. And any accessory you do have is ticked, because it really will make a difference when you're cooking your food. And then come down, update your filter. The default setting normally is that Australia is ticked, which means you're going to have a very limited amount of recipes. There's still a few thousand, don't stress too much, but more will come if you untick Australia, so you have no countries chosen, and just choose the languages you're happy to see and choose which version you have. And then your search will bring up more results for you. So that's Cookidoo in a quick nutshell for you. As I said, I've got a very long, better tutorial elsewhere. And a few other tips about your Thermomix. So when you're kneading dough, like on dough mode, the machine can wobble a bit. So stay in the vicinity of the Thermomix. Like it only usually kneads for about 2 minutes anyway. But the danger is that it could work its way to the edge of the bench, possibly. So stay in the area when it's kneading. The other one is after you've been cleaning your bowl, make sure these pins are really dry before you put them in, because obviously they connect in where the electronics are. So, yep. And cleaning, just all the pieces, the dishwasher safe, the sit clean mode on the screen, whatever. The machine itself, just use a soft cloth to go around everywhere. If liquid or whatever was to get in the areas around here, it's okay. There's a hole at the back, which is a tunnel that leads to the bottom of your machine over here. But you want to avoid any liquid getting in the raised section here, obviously, because that's going into the inner workings of the machine. The screen, if you're finding the screen isn't detecting your finger, just check that it's clean and dry. It needs to be clean and dry to work. I'm a messy cook, so I'm always having to, got to clean that screen, otherwise it won't register. Now the other thing is, when you want to move your Thermomix, it really is best to pick it up by the handle with one hand underneath and actually pick it up, because if you drag it across your bench, like imagine dragging like dit, 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 over time, it's possible the scales might be being jumped around too much, and it may not be good for them. And there is an attachment you can get, which I have here, called the glider board. This one is very sturdy, like I can't move it unless I want to. And when I want to, just pick it up and then it glides everywhere along my bench very easily, just with I've got 2 fingers under there and steadying it with my thumb. So that is an optional extra accessory you can get as well. I feel like we've been through everything. I've been through the buttons, the menu, Cookidoo, all the pieces. So yeah, if you have any other questions about the Thermomix, please don't be shy to reach out to me or check out some of my other videos. And now I will show you how to use the cutter. So this one, when you open it up out of the box, make sure you do get all the pieces, because I have heard of people, this one is tucked away in the very bottom of the box in a corner. I have heard of people throwing out the box and without retrieving that. So that's really sad. But hopefully that hasn't happened to you. So we've got 5 pieces to our cutter. I'm going to put my bowl on the Thermomix. The first one, take that off to show you. The first one is the driving shaft, which sits on the top of your blades. And then you're going to put in your basket. Now I can sit this here. And then we have 2 choices of our actions. We've got grating and slicing. And on the top of your disc, you'll see number 1, I've got round discs indicating that this is the slicer. And if you turn the other way, I've got longer strips, which indicate grating. Hopefully you can see that up here, and that's side 2. So whatever side you want it to be on, you have that facing up. So if you want to grate, have side 2, the grating side, facing up. And then you will put in your lid and be ready with your pusher. So when you come here to the grating mode, you'll have this message that teaches you how. But when you're ready, choose thin or thick. I'll choose thin. And then have your ingredients ready to just be feeding through and guide through your thing. And be ready, because it is fast. So it's just like that. Now thin is 1 millimeter and thick is 4 millimeter. So then say I wanted to be slicing, I would just come here, choose slicing. but I still need to remember that I need my disc on the right side. So turn that the other way for slicing. Have it slicing side facing up. Set the lid on. And again, you're just choosing thin or thick and guiding through with your pusher. When you are done, all your ingredients that you've processed are in your bowl. And a big, huge reminder to you to then pull out the driving shaft, because again, I have heard of customers forgetting that that is in there. Because they take this out and that looks great. And then your Thermomix is here. It's nice and clean because none of the ingredients are in, and then they process something and forget that that driving shaft is in there, which means this will break into, like, say you're blending something, that will be blended in. So please remember to pull this out when you're finished using your cutter. And that's it. So thank you for watching. Please reach out to me. I am very interested in making sure that you are confident with your Thermomix and that you make the most out of your investments. So thank you.